You've heard of it, right?
What is it?
The book of Daniel.
Yep.
In the very back of Daniel, there's only 12 chapters to Daniel. But if you look in a Jerusalem Bible, there's 14. They took 2 chapters out for the King James Version. Completely removed them. And the chapter 13 deals with the illicit treatment of women, the unjust accusal. And the 14th chapter deals with how do you handle bad leadership? How do you handle corrupt rulers? Of course, they had to take those 2 out. The women would have rights,
Right.
put it back in, and then they had to take the leadership thing away because how many people would be put to death for stealing, off the government. But you got to read that. If you get a Jerusalem Bible, you can even find it on your phone.
Okay.
It's very interesting reading, extremely informative. And I was told by a preacher that those chapters are covered in other parts of the Bible. Yeah, there's like one sentence in Luke that talks about a woman that was wrongly accused. They don't explain the story, why and how, and 13 does. And I find it very interesting that the King James was manipulated. In 1609, they printed the Bible in English so people could read it. And it was done by the court scribes of King James in Spain. Mm-hmm. And then he read it, and 2 years later they rewrote it, took a bunch of stuff out. And the reason they did that... 1611, yep. And the reason they did that, he said, on his deathbed, he said, well, we wanted to be able to roll it into a scroll, and shoot it over a castle wall to give these small factions time to repent before we burst the gates and killed everybody and took back the women and children. Okay.
It's deep.
So we've been fighting that war a long time. That's another story in itself. I don't want to get into all that, why they did that, and what was going on. But King James actually did that. He reshaped the Bible a lot. Matthew's missing like 15 verses. It's not missing whole chapters. But you look at some of these books in the New Testament, like Titus and James, there are a few measly pages. A few lousy pages. Those books were just as thick as anybody's.
Right.
And then you look at Thomas and Tobit and Magdalene and all those books. They didn't make it in the Bible, and they're very interesting.
Yep.
They call those apocryphal, where they're not substantiated by any other language than the one that.
Say that.
I'm sorry.
What does it mean?
Apocryphal.
Something about a language.
You got to speak up a little bit.
What about language?
Well, Aramaic was Jesus' home language. And all the people that he ran with spoke Aramaic. Mm-hmm. They didn't speak Greek or Latin or anything. That came later. So that's a Dead Sea Scroll language. It's a dead language, basically.
Yep.
Nobody speaks it anymore.
Ancient, yes.
Aramaic. So if they can find scrolls or tablets written in Aramaic, they know that it was written at the time of Christ, and they use that in the Bible. That's their reasoning for not including Tobit and Thomas and all them guys. The Maccabees, but those are real books. They were around. Some of them were longer than the Bible. They were around.
Yeah.
And there's tons of books on the Bible. Not just the Bible. There's books that contribute to the Bible. There's books that pick it apart. And decipher every line and every word.
What it's for.
That's just too much, man. God.
Yep. I have an apocrypha. I have one. Yeah. That thing's it has things about the Daniel and the 2 priests that accused the innocent woman. Yeah.
Okay.
It was trying to rape her, literally.
They came out.
It's like the same things what happens in these Catholic churches.
Right, pretty much.
Even Christian churches, so.
Like the guy said, you want to keep your daughter pregnant in a Catholic church, dress her up like a choir boy.
Like it's crazy, but at the end of the day.
It's the demon.
Yeah.
Walking the earth.
Yep. Spiritual demon Satan, yeah.
You got people calling him reptilians.
Yeah, he's
you know, there's all kinds of spiritual entities on the earth.
right.
It's like a dumping ground for all the.
When you watch that movie, The Devil's Advocate, he's all like, "Oh, I go by so many names."
Right.
You know what I mean? So they're telling you in these movies, even too, music, and the devil's been putting in work for a very long time.
Lucifer had the earth at
know?
one time. He had it. That's why there's all these spiders and poisonous plants and everything. Like in Australia, half the stuff there will kill you. You know, if you touch it.
Yeah.
Because he had his guys design all that stuff. And then he tried to do something and got kicked out. Basically got fired. And God told Satan, he says, Lucifer, he says, I can't make you head of earth anymore because you're a liar and a thief. So he gave it to Jesus, and now we have this. Better choice.
Yeah, I was sure. Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't want to live like Australia. Most of the people live in Australia live on the coast.
Well, I heard they're going cashless, so.
Most everybody will. It just costs too much. I mean, they're printing so many $100 bills now, and almost all of them are leaving the country. You know, people are taking them. They're taking them home. They blame the Mexican. It ain't Mexico. They're doing it like businesses are shipping their money offshore to the Caribbean islands and stuff by the millions of dollars a day.
Well, when you have that amount of money and the percentage of, the banks charge to hold that money, they charge interest on that. So, I mean, when you're talking millions, they're making thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, they're making millions of dollars a second.
So, it's crazy.
When Bill Gates loaned the United States government $100 billion from Anthem Insurance to start Healthy Indiana Plan, and all these of Missouri and Alaska and all these 50 states had Healthy Indiana Plan, it was making $8 million a minute. That interest making $8 million a minute. That $100 billion in the bank. So he never spent the principal, the $100 billion. He just gave me interest off that money for 2 years, I think it was, 2 or 3 years. I added that up. It's phenomenal. It's in the trillions of dollars. I couldn't believe how much money it was. $8 million a minute is what it was making. I'm like, God, that's a lot of money. A minute? You know, there's 60 minutes in a
that's stupid.
Oh my God, it was phenomenal. It was like over $1 billion a day or so. I don't know, it was just nuts. You know, just crazy.
Imagine Revelations 13, 16 through 18. When he tell everybody, you know, when you walk into a store and you can't dine and dash anymore.
Right.
Because everybody's got a chip, or they're born with a chip.
Yeah, well, they got a chip in their card.
You know. And then you got technology over there that detects it, so it's gonna walk into these smart restaurants and stuff.
Right. They already got stores in California where you walk in, take your stuff, and walk out, and it clicks you right when you walk through the door, knows who you are and everything. Yeah, it does it off your phone.
Yep.